Hello, Paul here. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple videos and do some predictions on where I see the market going. And I'm going to look at some assets. And since it's the weekend, I may make these on the weekend just to kind of, on the weekend, see where the price of SPY could go. I'll look at some other assets. But today we're going to be looking at SPY and we're going to be looking at where it could go based off of the indicator formula that I've been using. This is based off of the indicator that I've talked about in the last couple of videos. So I'll look at SPY we'll look on a daily, and then we'll look on the hour. And we'll see where to kind of put your focus on come Monday morning. So this is based off where the direction could go and what to look out for once the stock market opens up on Monday for when you're trading the S&P, or you're doing this on, well, if you're doing this with Robinhood, you get to be more focused on the direction. But if you're doing this on Forex, you're going to hold it out for longer. But let's generally look at what the price is doing right now. Okay, so before we begin, let's go over and look at this on the day chart. And let me show you guys how I set this up real quickly. I've made this in a couple videos, but first thing you want to follow this formula is you want to get your L&L trend system. So you want to make sure you get the L&L trend system. Check off everything except for show trend line and show HDF trend line. Everything else you can check off because you don't need it. It's distraction. The next thing you need to get is your linear regression candles. This is optional, but I just use it because it makes everything more clear. So if you go to your linear regression candles, and then you want to remove your regular candles. So after that, you want to get your RSI. So after you have that set up, we want to basically look at the long term and see what's happening here. So if we go to the last point it crossed on the daily right here, we can see that it has crossed down. So the overall direction is down for the S&P. So if you were to do long trades, and I got one going on in Forex. Show you real quick on my trades here. I have a short position right now in the S&P that is for long term, and that's because I can hold it for a long period of time. I do that because I see the direction going down long term, trading out for a long term. But short term, you may have to look at some different time frames. But if we were looking at this on the day, we could tell that the trend is going down. Now, if you wanted to focus on the day chart here, what you basically would have to do is you have to get in on all the moments where it crossed down right here. So you want to focus on all the moments where it's crossing down. You don't want to get in on those moments where it's retracing back up. You want to get in the moments where it continues to go down, because that's the current direction. If these two lines cross, then the direction is going to start going back up. But right now, the direction is down. So if you're looking at this on the day, if you want to do this on the day chart, if you want to trade on the day chart, you have to, well, first of all, you probably would want to do this on Forex because you can wait it out longer. If you did this on Robinhood, you might risk losing or not getting the profits you want because you got to wait longer. But anyway, the point to get in would be right here where it crossed, and the next one would have been right here. So if you came in right here, you would have made some pretty good. If you did it on Robinhood, that's about $5,000 move there. But you would have to hold your contracts for about 7 days. So real quickly, the overall direction is down, even though it has been coming up for the last couple days. The direction is still down long term. So let's real quickly do this on a more shorter intraday level here. Now we know that the trend is going to go down. The trend most likely is going to go down. And you see that already with the RSI here on the hour. You see that the RSI will probably coil down and start going down. But if you wanted to focus, now what I would have done is look at the daily, and we know that the trend is going down, so down would be the direction that I personally focus on. But if you were to do this on the current movement of what it's doing on the hour, you basically would have got in right here, and that's basically your only move right now. So it all depends on what happens on Monday, but we know that the overall direction's down. So what I would do in this point is really focus on down. So we got one right here that would have worked. So if it crossed right here, you could have rode this down because the overall direction is down. So this would have resulted in a 5-day move, and you would have got about $2,670. So anyway, where SPY's headed right now is looking at on the daily. Well, let's real quickly look at this on the weekly here. Now, before I make my decision, you could clearly see here that if you trade on the weekly, and you really can only do this, you can only make these moves on Forex because otherwise you would have to buy your contracts out for a long time. But if you notice all the crossing points on the weekly, you got this one right here, which was a while, and it looks like it might cross down. So it's very important because it is now ending a very long bull cycle here, because you see from this point on to up here it's been bullish. But the L&L lines are crossing, which means the direction of it going down is probably going to continue a lot more than what it has been. So the direction on the weekly is down. The direction on the daily is down. So judging by the weekly and the daily, the direction I would focus on is down. So that's looking at it on the weekly. That's looking at it on the daily. So when you want to do an intraday trade, I personally would be focusing on direction of it going down. So what I would look for on the hour here is I would look for the lines to cross down. That'd be the next. If I wanted to do an intraday, I'd wait for these two lines to cross down. So anyway, my personal opinion, the direction looks like it's heading into some downtrend movement. We see it on the daily, and we see it on the weekly. So my focus is to look at the charts and basically focus in for puts going into next week.